Travel between Prince William Sound and Turnagain Arm has always been a vital part of life in Alaska, although modes and routes have continued to change. Eskimos have hunted and gathered in this area for thousands of years. They trekked over Portage Pass and Portage Glacier to trade and fight with the Athabascan Indians of Cook Inlet. Many miners and prospectors also used Portage Pass to reach the gold fields of Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula in the late 19th century. Often dropped off at the head of Passage Canal, these adventurers used pack trains, sleds, and pulleys to drag equipment and supplies over Portage Pass in hopes of striking it rich in Cook Inlet or on the Kenai Peninsula. During this period, Portage Glacier still covered most of Portage Lake. Travelers climbed to Portage Pass and traversed the eastern edge of Portage Glacier to Bear Valley. From there they would walk the front of the glacier onto the base of Begich Peak and drop down to Portage Valley. This route, however, was both difficult and dangerous. In 1914 the Alaska Railroad Corporation began to consider ways to construct a railroad spur to what is now the town of Whittier. While railroad manager Otto Olson championed this route because of its ability to provide a shortcut to a deepwater port, a trip to Seward added 52 more miles, this route didn't become a reality until World War II. The main advantages of using Whittier as a rail port were that it was a shorter voyage, reduced exposure of ships to Japanese submarines, reduced the risk of Japanese bombing the port facilities because of the harsh weather, and avoided the steep railroad grades required to traverse the Kenai Mountains. In 1941, the U.S. Army began construction of the railroad spur from Whittier to Portage. This line became Alaska's main supply link for the war effort. Anton Anderson, an Army engineer, headed up the construction. The tunnel currently bears his name. On April 23, 1943, workers completed the spur, which consisted of a 1-mile tunnel through Begich Peak and a 2.5-mile tunnel through Maynard Mountain, thus linking Whittier to the Alaska Railroad's main line at Portage. With a new rail connection to Whittier, the area began to change. In the mid-1940s, work crews and supply ships began to arrive, and the population, including military and civilian personnel, swelled to over 1,000. Infrastructure, such as buildings, including the 6-story Buckner Building and the Begich Tower, a power plant, and a petroleum tank farm, began to change the landscape. The 1950s brought change to Whittier once again. As the military pulled out, Whittier transformed into a federally run commercial port. This turn of events also provided the opportunity for the private ownership and development potential that exists today. Whittier's geographical location makes it the ideal gateway for freight ships, cruise lines, fisheries, and recreational boaters. The beauty of Prince William Sound attracts tourists every year. Whittier has been a port on the Alaska Marine Highway, but its only link to Alaska's highways was via the Alaska Railroad. The Alaska Railroad began offering a shuttle service between Portage and Whittier in the mid-1960s. This unique form of rail service allowed vehicles to drive onto flat cars to be transported between Whittier and Portage. As the number of people traveling to and from Whittier increased, so did the demand for more convenient and affordable passage to Whittier. Studies were conducted and proved that there is more demand for access than can be accommodated with the Alaska Railroad's shuttle operation. This need spurred the Alaska Department of Transportation and Public Facilities to search for a way to improve this transportation corridor. Several routes were considered, and after studying all the options, it was determined that the best solution was to construct a highway through Maynard Mountain by transforming the existing railroad tunnel into a one-lane, combination highway and railway tunnel that allows cars and trains to take turns traveling through the tunnel. This project consisted of 1.5 miles of road, one 500-foot-long tunnel, and 2 bridges from the Portage Glacier Highway near the Begich Bogs Visitor Center to the Bear Valley staging area. The project began construction in September 1998. It finally opened to vehicle traffic on June 7, 2000. Fun facts about the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel. The longest tunnel in North America, spanning 2.5 highway miles. It is the only land access to Whittier, Alaska. The longest combined rail and highway used tunnel in North America. First United States tunnel with jet turbine and portal fan ventilation. First computerized operations for a combined rail and one-lane highway traffic. The first tunnel designed to withstand -40 degrees Fahrenheit weather and 150 mile/hour winds, and the portal buildings were designed to withstand avalanches too. When you exit the tunnel and after a short drive, you will arrive in the heart of Whittier, Alaska. The city is nestled between awe-inspiring mountains, emerald forests, and a sparkling blue sea. Whittier is the perfect gateway to the fascinating beauty of the Prince William Sound, and during the summer, Thousands of visitors arrive at this hidden gem of a city by ship, train, or car. The people of Whittier are as varied and unique as the landscape itself. Locals enjoy sharing stories of their unique lives that come from having most of the community live in one main building called the Begich Towers. Whittier's economy is mostly seasonal based. Whittier is truly an American city like no other. As of 2020, the population was 272. The nearby Whittier Glacier was named for American poet John Greenleaf Whittier in 1915, and the town eventually took the name as well. Well folks, if you liked my video and want more, please drop me a comment below. If you have any questions, I will be happy to try and answer them for you. Oh, and if you aren't subscribed yet, consider subscribing and clicking the bell icon to receive notifications on upcoming videos as they come out. I always appreciate everyone's support and comments. Before I go, I would to offer a powerful quote by the famous poet, Mark Twain. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time.